Morning, afternoon. Good night, evening. Don't know what time you're consuming this, but we are here for it. Just get it shared out real quick on Facebook, and then we'll go from there. Oh. Mic check, Facebook, mic check. Yes. There it is. Come on. Mic check. There it is. Mic check. We there. We here. We no longer coming no more. We here now. We here now. Shout out to Prime Time, man. Glad he's doing well. Glad he's back in order and healthy, regardless of some of the harsh takes I've had in the past. It's always good to hear somebody has recovered from these things, these health scares. They're not something to be played with, and you should learn something from it. So again, let's get into it. This is one of the reasons, again, it's so important that you live every single day. Every single day you do something to get better. Every single day you provide and you create something that's going to make it so you're able to have pieces of you and things that you can leave behind, and stuff like that. So again, that's another conversation for that. If I was to start that, I'd be on here for hours upon hours. Let me just introduce myself to anybody that may be new to this channel, new to what we do over here. My name is Aswan Cruikshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author and educator. And I created this whole brand, this whole framework, this whole concept, this whole mindset. It's all about taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and applying them and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a staff and a group of employees that moves as efficiently and as cohesively and has the same mindset, all right, has that same hunger and desire as a championship youth or high school football team. And today, Top 5 Tuesday. Top 5 Tuesday. We're breaking down the top all week. We are going to be breaking down the difference or the understanding of what a merit-based role is. If you recall yesterday, we talked all about merit and what merit actually means, to the ultimate meritocracy, where it's all about performance. You got to perform in order to get whatever job you're desiring. And today we're going to continue breaking that down in the form of a Top 5 Tuesday, where we're going to talk to you about how to find your merit-based role. And there's a process to this, all right? There's a process to this. There's levels to this stuff, all right? There's levels to this stuff, and there has to be an understanding of I have to perform. There has to be something working within you to say, I got to show up and do a certain thing every single day. So we're going to be breaking all of that down today. So stay tuned. Before I get into it, before I get started on the topic, let me just get through a couple of quick announcements, and then we will go from there. First and foremost, as I mentioned in the introduction, business owners, we are here to serve you. The Move Swiftly platform is built. It's built to serve you and to make it so you have a group of employees that has that passion, has that mentality, has that fight mentality in them. All right. And the very first step that you need to take is to go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That is freeguide.makeyourmove.com. I create a very easy to understand 10-step process for you to utilize right now in your business to make it so you are moving with a little more efficiency. It's a very, very simple formula that we have here. So damn simple. A caveman can do it. All right. Very, very simple. It's establishing measurables plus a professional distance, and that's going to equal the productive environment that you desire. You desire it, all right? You need it, or your business will go under really, really, really fast, all right? Because you need measurables, you need a distance, and you need to have that if you want to have that productive environment. That is the difference, folks. That is the difference. You have got to make sure those two things are available or exist. And again, we're going to dive deeper into that throughout today's episode. Next thing, West Palm Beach, stand up. If you are interested, I have opened it back up. The boxing lessons are back. back. All right. If you are interested, be sure to get in contact with me. If you want to try, if you have not tried your free session yet, it runs from 6 p.m. all the way through about 8:15 p.m. Available for you to try box lessons. Make sure you just simply contact me or message me and we'll set something up, whether it's at Palm Beach Boxing Gym. Most likely it'll be at Palm Beach Boxing Gym, but also at the park as well. This is what we do, again, where there's a correlation between the mentality of, just training. I'm not saying it has to be boxing, but just, keeping your body right, keeping your health in order, making sure you stand on top of those things. There's a genuine connection between that and how you perform in your business, how you perform at work. There's a lot of synergy between the two. So it is actually very important. There is correlations that you may or may not have realized. And your one and only Move Swiftly speaker is here to break those down for you. And finally, to the folks that we love the most, I ain't afraid to say it, I ain't ashamed to say it, folks that we love the most around here are the folks that say bump all that free stuff. And I want to inject some of his energy into my staff. So I have that group of employees that he's talking about. I just need you guys to simply go to makeyourmove.com. You can purchase the books there. You can purchase a Move Swiftly workshop. Again, there's payment plans that exist there. And then you could also purchase some boxing lessons as well if you want to move forward with those and figure out the best deal. Again, just simply book a meeting with me and we will get you on track. Again, the website is makeyourmove.com, and the tab to hit to book your meeting with me is innovative teamwork. All right. Turn your business into a championship team. It is common knowledge that the best way to win in business or in life is by avoiding ways to lose. Whether you've just started a new business or you've been in business for quite some time, there's no getting around the need to hire or outsource certain elements of your organization so things can run as efficiently as possible. When you book your meeting with Aswan, he will diagnose what the issues are with your current system and then strategically create a system in which will lead to a reduced amount of turnover or a clear understanding of the parts of your business that need to be outsourced. So go to makeyourmove.com for more information on that. All right, let's break this down. Let's get into it. How to find your merit-based role. Now, before I go there, let me just give a quick review. So I wanted to see if I actually... Okay, so here we go. This part right here. I want to reassess it and re-diagnose it or kind of revisit it from yesterday. Because yesterday on Make Your Move Monday's kickoff question, we asked the question, what is a merit-based role? All right, and the final thought, I want to just rehash the final thought. It's football season, folks, and football season equals meritocracy mode. So we closed out July. We're about to enter August and football season. There's no better metaphor for a merit-based system. Football season doesn't care about your name, your background, or your resume. It's show and proof. Every day, every rep, every game. That is the energy we're bringing all week. So let's get to work. So I wanted to repeat that because it serves as a reminder that to find your merit-based role, you got to take the approach of the football players that you see going to camp every single day. There's nothing guaranteed. Everything is open. All right, everything. And when I say everything is open, even the people that you see on TV signing major deals and stuff like everything is open because, again, it's quite possibly very high possibility that guys go down. You need guys to step up in certain positions, a certain set of circumstances. Guys have got to always be ready and they need to be good enough. So they need to be tested. All right. So finding your merit-based role, first of all, it starts with something within. It has to come from a desire within. And the question I want you guys thinking about as we go through today's article is, what is burning on the inside? What is the thing? What is something that you have yet to accomplish, that you've been striving, you've been busting your ass for years upon years, that you kind of kept quiet, or you are working your ass off towards getting? What is the thing that has kind of gotten lost And are you actually putting things in place and doing things that are going to make it so you have an opportunity to prove yourself? Because that's all it's really going to be about. You're just going to get an opportunity. That's the only thing that you can really get to. The only thing that's possibly guaranteed to you is an opportunity. Now, not saying that that's a bad thing, all right? The opportunity comes from those who prepare for it and they're ready for it. You got to be ready for the opportunity to step in to the role in which you are destined for. All right. That comes from within. That comes from a burning desire. So today I'm going to walk you through an example, probably one of the best examples I can give in my own life in terms of what a merit-based role is, how I was able to find a role on this football. As you guys can see here, I played for Stony Brook University. It was my senior year, and I was a walk-on. There was a walk-on there. I came from a Division II school, and it was very easy for me to just pack it up and not go back and play because I had just torn my ACL, and there was all sorts of reasons for me to quit. But there was a term that the coach threw at me before it was after my freshman year of college. The coach that threw at me that really got me thinking and really lit a fire up under me you can't burn. It's not going to ever burn. It's not going to ever go out because I actually accomplished it at the age in which I was able to accomplish. I was 19 years old and I was able to accomplish something that I had been striving for the past 2 years from when I was 17, right? So 2 years of straight grinding and going through this, and going to Carson Newman, tearing my ACL and coming back, working at a gym and, continuing to have that flame lit is what allowed me to say, hey, let's go get it. So when you finally get there, you realize now it becomes a lifestyle. So all that being said, I'm going to read directly from the article. And as usual, I will be chiming in based on, some of the things I read to re-emphasize certain points. Be sure, like the reason I say I'm a 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author is because these articles are going to be in a book. It's going to be the new book that'll be available for pre-orders maybe in about a month and a half, around 2 months, no longer than 2 or 3 months, probably somewhere around, I'd say, October-ish time. It should be ready for pre-order as football season's right in the heart. We're in the heart of football season and stuff like that. I'll be announcing the pre-orders and stuff like that. But the people who follow me on Medium, you will be getting a discount on the book. And because a lot of the articles that I write here on Medium are going to be in the book as well. There's a subtle there's a realness when you actually sit down and you have a book and you read it and you're able to highlight it versus reading something online. This is something I know from experience. All right. So again, it's medium.com @MoveSwiftly44. All right. So here it is. Top 5 Tuesday. This week's Top 5 Tuesday is personal. We are unpacking how to find your merit-based role. And before I dive into the list, let me tell you exactly where I first heard the word merit. I was 19 years old, sitting out a season of football for the first time since I was 7 years old. I had just torn my ACL and was trying to recover both mentally and physically while chasing what felt like a long shot dream, playing Division I football. I had built a connection with one of the coaches at Stony Brook University, an FCS program in Long Island, New York, my dream school. Every so often, I call him to check in, ask for updates, and see what I needed to do to earn my shot. During one call, he hit me with something that changed my life. If your grades are all C or better, I can go ahead and say this guy got in on his own merit. All right. I can go. Let me reread that. If your grades are C or better, I can go to the head coach, and because I'm living through these situations, so sometimes So if your grades are all C or better, I can go to the head coach and say this guy got in on his own merit. This was the first time I heard the word merit, and I've never forgotten it since. Let's break down the top 5 ways to find your own merit-based role. All right. So let me break that down a little bit because I know it was kind of fuzzy as I read it because I was reliving the situation. It's crazy. I mean, this is the power of writing though, when you actually are reliving a conversation that you had over the phone 10 years ago, well over 10 years ago. But anyway, so yeah, I was wanting to go to Stony Brook out of high school, but my grades weren't good enough and I wasn't athletically I was a Division II, Division III athletically. The reason that I even had a chance to meet them is because the high school I went to was such a powerhouse high school that produced so many Division I players that they were always looking to recruit guys from good counsel. So we got a lot of FCS and Division I coaches just coming in, trying to build up their brand and, just get with some good counsel guys, hardworking, good counsel guys like me. Again, I'll tell you, I was a Division III, Division II athletically, but my work ethic made it so FCS programs were interested in me. It's just my grades weren't where they needed to be, right? So anyway, long story short, I had to go to D2 out of high school. And then I get to this D2 program, not really feeling it, but went back for my second semester, and I thought it would get better, but then I tore my ACL, surgery, knee surgery, the whole thing. So it was just time for me to get a fresh start. And even before I tore my ACL, I had called Stony Brook and gotten my release papers and sent it to him because I was thinking I wanted to transfer to Stony Brook, being that it was more in the Northeast area. I wanted to be in New York, seeing that I had a lot of family that lives in New York and stuff like that. And it was more feeling like home and stuff instead of East Jefferson City, Tennessee. So it was a 2-year process between my senior year, 3-year process that before I actually got it, but it's a 2-year process between the moment I met Coach Golf and that moment that he actually told me that. So my senior year and then my freshman year in college, and then I end up that my sophomore year going to a community college and rehabbing my knee and getting, working, but also being a student at a community college. And that's when he called, when I called him, and he goes, look, your grades got to be C or better, and we can get in on his own merit. So it wasn't a matter of, is he going to earn a scholarship or anything like that? He got into the school on his own. I got into Stony Brook academically, and then he was able to take my film and everything I was doing and say, hey, coach, this guy's already in the school on his own merit, so he doesn't need us. He doesn't need us to give him a scholarship or anything like that. He's going to come in, walk on, bust his ass, and do what he has to do. And I did end up earning a spot on the travel squad. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And when he threw the term merit, his own merit, that has trickled down in every point of my life, in every single place, every single thing that I've done. It's been about actually being good enough and performing and showing that you're good enough on a day-to-day basis. It cannot be you're just performing when it's convenient. You can't get in the habit of saying, okay, I'm going to be deserving of whatever promotion I want, and not be in the habit of performing on a day-to-day basis. That is the issue that a lot of folks run into. So number one, how does it happen? How do you find this merit-based role, right? Number one, the first thing you got to do, and this might sound counterproductive because this word is usually used in a negative connotation, is a sense of envy, the productive kind. Let me put it up here on the screen so you guys can see it. Ooh, 1 second. A sense of envy. All right. You need to have a sense of, you need to have a sense of envy. Let me be clear. This isn't about jealousy. It's about seeing what others are doing and letting it fuel you. Back in those college years, I was surrounded by elite. When I say elite, I mean elite level. All right, elite level athletes. The late Akeem Hebron, my high school teammate, he was a commit to a first team U.S. Army All-American and went to the University of Georgia. Jelani Jenkins was another high school teammate of mine. He was another first team All-American. First team All-American, was linebacker of the year. I mean, he was all world out of high school, and he ended up going to play at the University of Florida. My freshman teammate at Carson Newman, one of my best friend on the team, who became like my best friend on the team, Brandon, we used to call him B Smooth, Brandon Davis. After that freshman year at Carson Newman, he transferred to South Carolina, another SEC program, and he actually got in the game. I remember watching him and seeing him on special teams, making plays, doing some things, and that's coming from a Division II program, right? I watched these guys, better athletes than me, live out the dream I wanted. And while I respected their grind, I could not sit back and just spectate. I needed to prove I could hang with that level. that envy pushed me to keep chasing the goal no matter how far-fetched it seems. So let's go back to what I said at the beginning now. When I tear my ACL at a Division II program that I had already redshirted at, and again, I wasn't this great athlete, going and playing Division I seemed absolutely ridiculous. It seemed absolutely ridiculous that I would even say these things, to the point where there were times in which and we're going to get to that in the list, but I had to actually convince myself, and there were people, close friends, looking at me like I was absolutely crazy to even say or think that I was going to be able to do that. And one of the very first thing that kept me moving and kept me pushing towards this is the fact that I had teammates that I'm sitting back watching play on TV, and there was that sense of envy, but it was a productive kind of envy. It wasn't the type of envy that makes it so you're hating on them. It was the type of envy that makes you say, look, let me get my ass up in the morning, let me get my ass up and go work out, let me get my ass and call Coach Golf and get my grades right, do what I got to do to at least prove to myself that I'm able to accomplish certain things. You can't just sit back and watch folks get better than you, folks. You guys, regular listeners, have heard me say that time and time again. One thing that this game teaches, let me not even be selfish and just say this game, but just life in general. If you have the desire in your heart, one thing that you're going to learn is you cannot just sit back and watch folks get better than you, and watch folks do some bigger things than you without having a sense of, I'm going to go out and put in some work myself. Again, it is not hating. It is not you watching them and hating. There's a respect factor there. Again, I love these guys, but actually all three of them, Jelani, Leda Keem, Brent, and B Smooth, all three of them have been on this very podcast, and we've had conversations in the public. You can go listen to it if you want to. But the important thing is you have to make sure you're also fueling yourself and you're also using it as an opportunity to make yourself better. That is what it's all about. So number one, there's a sense of envy, but there's a productive kind of envy where you want to get better. All right. Number two, you got to know your actual ability. Know if you're actually good enough to do it. So for me, and the reason I love the football example so much is because when you look at a school like Florida, a school like Georgia, a school like South Carolina, I was not good enough to play there. I knew that. You would know if you were good enough to play there. However, that doesn't mean you got to just stop trying. That doesn't mean you can't, figure out a way where you are good enough to play and then start to really align yourself and get yourself better. That doesn't mean you just give up, right? Just because you're not blessed athletically or blessed with some natural ability. Be honest with your ability, but then just simply go after what you can go after. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. All right. So let me read it to you directly now. Envy without honesty is just fantasy. While I was fired up to compete, I also knew the truth. I had limitations. I had trained with those guys. I saw what they can do, and I saw where I stood. Plus, I was battling back from an ACL tear. I had to acknowledge reality, but not be ruled by it. Do you guys hear me when I say that? You have to acknowledge reality, but you don't have to be ruled by reality. Okay, acknowledge there's a reality of a situation there. Yes, acknowledge it. Make sure you implement it and intertwine it within whatever plans you may have. But that in itself will make it so you're not ruled by your current circumstance. You're not ruled by the reality. You're not allowing the reality of your current situation to simply be just the way it's going to be. There are possibilities. There are things you can do. There are things you can do to make it so you have intertwined, or you have put the reality in the mix of your goals, and that could be the thing that drives you. That could be the thing that pushes you. That could be the thing that sets you up to create whatever it is you're trying to create in your life. All right. So when I use the example of these three players that played at these major schools, big time powerhouse programs, I in my own head say, you know what? Look, I know I'm not going to be at a SEC type of a football player, but hey, I can create value in a certain school. My goals and my ambitions and the things I'm able to do, it can be value at a certain school. I can go get a solid education at this particular place and then go from there. You got to walk in your own journey. Let me finish read this. Knowing your actual ability keeps you grounded and helps you find the right lane, the one where your talent, mindset, and work ethic all align. And that leads to number three. your own agenda. Now, let's be clear here. Let's be clear. Your own agenda is usually not something that I would preach, given that this is the number one platform when we're talking about innovative teamwork and using innovative teamwork and you making it so innovative teamwork is what's fueling the business and fueling the work you do. Yes, I'm with you, but I'm here to tell you, they're reading directly from the article right now, guys. Having your own agenda at times is not selfish. It's actually strategic. And this goes back to what we said at the beginning. All right. When you have your own agenda, when you know your desires, when you know your goals, when you know specifically what it is you want to accomplish, when you develop your own agenda from within, it has to start coming from within before you go and face the outside world. When you have your own agenda from within, it ultimately now becomes a strategy. You're able to strategically align your agenda with another person's agenda and ask yourself in an honest way, is this the right fit? Do these puzzle pieces do that? Oh, it's a tongue twister. Let me get some water real quick. You actually ask yourself, do these puzzle pieces fit? Does the puzzle piece of me being at a Stony Brook University fit my own agenda of wanting to be in a school in New York and, wanting to develop in business, wanting to be around, business-minded folks in my business-minded community and stuff like that? Absolutely did. As I grew up and I realized, hey, sports, fitness, education, that's kind of my thing. Being in South Florida, where sports and fitness and being in shape year round, growing up in a Caribbean household and the amount of schools and education opportunities right here in Florida, does it fit? Do I have my own agenda? And is that strategically fitting in with what somebody else is doing, what somebody else's vision is for whatever their business is? Those are the questions that have to come up. But when I say create your own agenda, I don't mean create your own agenda in a way that's contradicting to your team, but you create your own agenda that it is in a way of complementing your team, complementing the people that you work with, complementing your goals, complementing the folks that you're aligning with and that you're working with. That's what I mean. All right. So when I say create your own agenda, you have to understand it has to be very strategic. All right. So I'll read it directly from the article because I know I went on a tangent there. So knowing your personal goals gives you tunnel vision. It keeps you from getting pulled in too many directions. It protects you from getting exploited, and it forces you to think long term. Let's be real. College and pro football only last so long. You better have a clear idea on what's next. And that's where the game continues. It continues to provide such an incredible amount of life lessons. All right. When you're talking about, and we're going to use this, you're going to use my example. We're going to use my personal example or my personal story that I'm sharing here as an example. All right. Talking about whether it's a Georgia or Florida, so it doesn't matter where you're playing your college football or where you're playing your NFL football. It will end very, very soon. It will end while you're still a very young man. All right. So you need to be thinking about what's going to happen next and what are you taking away from the game? What are you taking away from the situation that's going to allow you to become a better human being and make better decisions based on who you put around in your circle? Those are the things that you need to be asking. Those are the questions that need to be applied to your own life. All right. So your own agenda, having your own agenda, it becomes a very, very strategic thing. Now, another good one. Number 4, stubbornness. you gotta have it, man. You gotta have it. It may not seem like a positive thing, and many times it isn't always positive. All right, being a stubborn human being in general isn't always a positive thing. I don't say it with a sense of just always be stubborn, always be bullheaded, always be the person that doesn't listen to shit anybody else says. But some stubbornness actually can be beneficial to you if you have aligned 1 through 3. And we're gonna get to 5 in a second. But number 4, gotta have a little bit of the stubbornness in you. Gotta have a little bit of that just, fuck you. I don't want to hear that bullshit right now. I got to have a mental strength within me that is going to make it so this dream comes true. Let me read it for you directly. So when I was rehabbing my knee, the majority of people told me the dream was over. You should get into coaching as one. You'll never play again as one. Be realistic as one. Even my own father, he implied that it might be time to hang him up. I wasn't hearing it. I was stubborn enough to believe that my football journey deserved a better ending. Stubborn enough to block out the noise that kept going. And that same stubbornness, it is what built this brand, this book, this platform. All right. The stubbornness in many times allows you to really branch off and become your own adult and become your own human being. I think about it every single day. And just so we're clear now, my father was not coming from a place of anger. He wasn't coming from a bad place when he mentioned, hey, might be time to hang him up and stuff like that. He actually told me in a very delicate way because, again, I just torn my ACL. Me and him were literally in the hospital at the same time. He had just transplanted his kidney. I tore my ACL, and it was a lot of things going on that year as I transitioned from high school to college and all that kind of stuff. So he kind of delicately looked at me and said, hey, if the knee isn't right and it doesn't come back the way it's supposed to or the way you want it to come back to, might be time to hang him up, son. Hell no, I was not hanging him up. Again, I have a lot of the people that I played with that I was watching on TV during that time to thank to make sure, hey, look, man, I only have bullshit. Go play. Go do what you got to do. And it's that stubbornness that allows you to continue to work out. Now, again, you need 1 through 3. You need to be realistic. You need to make sure you're doing things that are healthy and conducive to your development and you're getting better. But you can't just let somebody tell you, no matter how close they are with you, no matter how much you love them. Again, my father, loving man, great, all that good stuff. But you cannot just allow people. It's like one of my favorite Rocky scenes. I have a lot of them, but he was remember that scene he was talking to us, and you let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when the world got hard, you started looking for places to hide and all that shit, right? You have to have the stubbornness to keep going when the world tells you to be realistic and tells you to just give up on whatever goal it is you may or may not have. And then it leads me to number 5, confidence, not cockiness. There's a difference, all right? Confidence and cockiness, 2 completely different things. Confidence, when you combine productive envy, self-awareness, personal goals, and unshakable persistence, you get one thing: confidence, not cockiness. Cockiness is the fake assertiveness, a mask for someone who can't perform outside of their comfort zone. Confidence is earned through effort. It is the byproduct of being battle tested. Confidence is what took a kid fighting to stay on a college roster and turned him into a multi-published author, speaker, and business owner. Google Aswan Cruikshank if you're new here. Go ahead and Google that name if you want to know. It's the confidence, folks. It is not about the cockiness. It's not about only performing and only doing things when it seems right, when it's easy. It's about taking 1 through 4. Okay, we're gonna go 1 through 4 here because I see I'm kind of running low. I'm gonna close you guys out soon. But that sense of envy that's productive, that knowing being honest about your actual ability, having your own agenda before you start connecting with other folks, having a bit of stubbornness to you, all of those things is going to lead to confidence because you're going to see little results along the way. I'll give you an example. As I was going through that year of a torn ACL, I was blessed enough to be working at a gym in which I had access to all the equipment to rehab my knee and do whatever it is I need to do. There was something, shout out to my boy Omar. There was something called box jumps. All right. So box jumps, you take a box that's, like about right here, and you just vert and you're jumping on it. So when he first put the box jumps up, I was like, no way. No, I just had surgery less than a year ago on my knee. I was incredibly scared to even think about doing it. And then, hey, I jumped, I did it. And that confidence over time, because again, I'm thinking to myself of all the people that were telling me it's time to give it up. It's time to quit. It's time to do this. It's time to go look at other things aside from football. And just doing one box jump after a torn ACL, Oh, you couldn't tell me shit. You couldn't tell me shit because at this point, you know you're getting better. At this point, you knew where you were a couple months ago, and that rehab process, that persistence, that mindset, that consistency, that over time taking those small wins, just doing box jumps in itself, that led to the confidence to say, keep going. All right. So final thought, this is what a meritocracy looks like. As we roll into Wednesday, we'll be diving into the wild world of college football recruiting because there's no better metaphor for a true merit-based system. You want to find your own lane. You want to get chosen before you even ask. Start by showing up with proof, not a pitch. See you tomorrow on Wintrepreneur Wednesday. Just so we're recapping here, just a quick little recap. You have to show up with the proof that you're able to do whatever it is you're saying you want to do, because talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. A lot of people do a whole lot of motherfucking talking. All right. You can't be showing up with all the talking. Talking stops. At some point, talking stops, and you got to show the proof that you're actually good enough to do whatever it is you say you want to do. So all that being said, again, if you are a business owner tuned into this and you have not yet, or you're interested in a employee development workshop, be sure to go to makeyourmove.com. That is MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.